Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Cybergist. It's always a good time, to have us join. And for any other person that would be, watching this later, so glad that you came across this video. So, this is the end of the year, 2025, and it is extremely important that we include cybersecurity resolutions just as we go about every other area of our life where we're making resolutions. Oh, I want to do better in this aspect of my life, my finances, personal development, spiritual life, like basically health and all of that. One key thing you should also include is your cybersecurity resolutions. So this is securely evolving channel, and this is Cybergist. It's a monthly session where we just have discussions around cybersecurity. And for this month, we are wrapping up the year with 2026 cybersecurity resolutions that you need to consider. So, why is it important that we go ahead and, have resolutions? And what's resolutions? They are intentional decisions that we make to improve how we protect our devices, our accounts, and our data, both our personal data, organizational, and all of that. So, we are in an era where everybody somehow just has something to do with internet. Like so far as you use the internet, you should consider cybersecurity. It's not something that is, oh, it's just a career path for one person, oh, it's just this and it's just that, right? It's something that is for everybody. And while you make intentional decisions around every other area of your life, because our lives mostly revolve around the digital world now, it is important that cybersecurity is a key resolution you should also include. So far as you use devices, you have a phone, you have a laptop, tablet, all of that. You have an account, whether your social media accounts, your email, banking apps, and the rest of them. You have data, right? These things call and make these things like makes it very important that you include cybersecurity in your new year resolutions, right? So cybersecurity is definitely no longer something that is just, oh, it's for the IT guy, oh, it's for the technical people. It's something that it's now an individual responsibility. So whether you are a person, whether you're a professional, whether you are in a different field, maybe you're even in the medical field, maybe you're in the health industry, like it doesn't matter. It's an everybody thing right now, and it's beyond you, your organizations as well, right? So it's important that as we plan our goals for the new year, we include cybersecurity resolutions. So these are like clear practical actions that we're going to commit to in order to ensure cyber safety, right? So this day, just like I mentioned, everybody has like an online presence. It could be just, oh, I don't do a lot online, but oh, you use WhatsApp. Or you get to check your mails, you get to send out things, receive media through your mail. You have social media accounts, you have banking apps, for your transfers, certain transactions, right? Or maybe you just browse the internet, like you go there, you want to solve, you want to check for one important data, one information or the other, right? So far as you have a touch point to any of this, you are definitely part of the digital space, and therefore you're a potential target. So far as you have a connection with the internet, you are a target, right? So cybersecurity is important so far as you have an online presence, right? And this is because cyber threats are increasing, like the way threat actors used to their tactics maybe few years ago. You just see that people keep improving. You're bringing out like their security defenses coming up every day to stop them from being able to carry out some of the activities. But you see that they keep getting advanced, like they keep the way they are making, like technology, the more the technology is improving, the more them too they are using technology to make their carry out their malicious intent, right? So it's increasing. Of course, people store more personal data online, and data is like a core target. Data is gold when it comes to cybersecurity. Data is gold. Like it's something that attackers are usually on the hunt for, right? there's heavy reliance on digital platforms, both for our life, just maybe you want to relax, you want to see a movie, or you want to do work. Like there's heavy reliance on digital platforms. And of course, the more the reliance on these platforms, the more the threats there is. And attackers these days is not just about systems. They target people even more than the target systems. Like because it's easier for them to get through people. Even if the main target is the system, they would go through people, right? So it's therefore very important that you do not overlook these things, right? And just what if you say that it's not your business? Like really do not care about your cyber habits and all of that. So I don't have anything that anybody will be targeting. Think about that again. Like just really think about it. Like you have an online presence and you think there's nothing that should make you, well, we did mention at the beginning the certain things, like so far as you have an online presence, you have data, you are leaving behind footprints every time you connect to the internet. So you won't say there's nothing, they don't have anything on you and all of that, right? So when you say, oh, it's not your business, you don't want to consider your like being cyber safe is not something you want to consider for the new year. What are the possible effects, right? Who knows? You may fall victim of an account takeover. Like it's very, very rampant these days, right? Where people get to lose their accounts. There's impersonation, people claiming to be who they are not, using it to deceive people, get certain sensitive information that they can in turn use to cause harm. There's privacy invasion, right? Maybe you're putting out a whole lot out there and somebody is able to, oh, so this person can literally tell, okay, this is where you school, or this is where your child school, this is what your daily activity is. Because these people have time, they can map these things like, oh, okay, a day in your life, and then they're putting everything together, and like they can basically draw an avatar of you, like everything you get to do on a daily basis. And then of course there's financial loss, right? We get to hear stories of people losing money, people losing certain opportunities because they were compromised. So when it comes to the workplace also, there's like impact when you do not stay cyber safe, right? You could put your workplace in a like cost them, like maybe one single action can get them to lose money, maybe they get to pay fines, they have compromise, like data compromise and all of that. I shared a video on my WhatsApp status like a few days ago. It was just an innocent worker, right? And then you unplug something that is probably a critical system just because, oh, you didn't really think, like, because you were not aware, not that you had the intention to actually cause harm, but just because you were not aware. But that single act could cause a lot of harm to the organization itself. So it's important that you consider cyber safe habits, right? So now that I believe we've come to like an agreement on that of course it's important that this is something you consider adding to your 2026 resolutions, right? So what are the core cybersecurity resolutions that we need to include in our general resolutions, right? So first is my password. I'm going to take password security seriously. So a number of people still have this I don't care attitude, like, oh, I just want something very easy I can remember. But you don't think about the after effect. Oh, I just want to use my name, and then maybe my name is goodness 1 2 3 4, goodness 3 4 5 6. So, what is the effect on the long run? So, these things are very easy. Like, if an attacker gets hold of your account, the very first thing they are going to check out is definitely the very common passwords, the most common ABC 1 2 3, all those things. So it's important that you set strong and unique passwords across different accounts. It's important that you stop reusing the same password. So you need to tell yourself these things in your resolutions. Oh, I'm not going to continue using. In fact, that password that I know deep inside my heart when I was setting it, I know that this password is not strong. You're going to tell yourself that in 2026, I ain't doing that anymore, right? So avoid reusing the same password, and where possible, use a password manager. A password manager is like, you, instead of having to like remember all your passwords like for across different accounts. So it's able to, some of them even go as far as helping you create like really strong passwords that you can use across different accounts. So what you now need to remember is like your master password, even though of course, like I said, there's no 100% security. Like the more we advance, the more the attackers also advance, because imagine your password manager itself being compromised. Enable multi-factor authentication. Like you need to take this seriously for all your accounts, whether it's your bank, whether it's your social media account, like for all accounts. Please enable multi-factor authentication. Is an additional layer of security. So instead of, oh, I've gotten access to your compound, or when I come in, there still has to be a door, there still has to be like a key on the door, there still has to be maybe still very like different doors, even within the same house. So please enable multi-factor authentication. If you need to use, oh, okay, apart from me putting my password, send a code maybe to my phone or to my mail. Okay, beyond this, ask me to provide an authentication code from my authenticator app. Like just whatever additional layer of authentication that is applicable to a platform, please, in 2026, make use of it. Right. So I hope we are all on the same page that I'm going to take password security seriously. And let me give you a tip when it comes to choosing strong password. In fact, I recommend passphrases, right? So you could use something that it's still memorable, like something that you won't easily forget, right? So you can pick like a sentence, something like you would always remember, and then pick core pick core letters or characters in between, and you'd be able to form your password, right? So let me just say, I want to say, I don't love football, but let's just say I love watching football on Wednesdays, right? Then within that sentence, I would pick keywords. Okay, maybe I want to pick the first or second letters in each of the words in that sentence, and then change the characters like in between. Maybe where I want to use a, maybe I want to use an at there, but make sure that is a combination of, capital, small letters, and, characters as well, numbers. Make it a mix of it. And please note that the longer your password, the harder it is to crack. The longer your password, because of course they have automated machines that they use to try to brute force accounts. The longer your password, the harder it is for it to crack. So as much as possible, make sure that you use strong passwords, right? So that takes us to the next one. So one other cybersecurity resolution you need to make this year, like 2026, is I'm going to be more alert to phishing scams. So this is one of the most prevalent scams, phishing, where they are either like, it's usually through your email. Sometimes there's also the ones they send like through voice, like they call you on phone, oh, this happened. Sometimes it's via SMS and all of that, right? And they leverage a number of things where they're asking you to click certain links, verify certain things, and then they lead you to a page that you're not supposed to go to. And maybe the page looks exactly like your platform, and then they're asking you, oh, log in and whatever. So it's important that you are more alert to the tactics that they use. Avoid clicking on suspicious links. 2026 is not that year where you see links randomly and then you start clicking on them. 2026 is not that year, right? So verify your emails, your messages, and requests, especially when the tone is very, very urgent. When the tone sounds very urgent, a number of times these phishing scams, like they want it to look like it's something you need to do now, like it has to be done now. So it's important that you verify messages, verify your emails, right? Did I actually request for this? So there was a particular scenario where I got a message from a bank. I don't actually bank with them, and then they're like, oh, somebody tried to change your email address. So one of the first questions I'm going to ask myself is, why are you asking me to, why are you telling me that somebody wants to change like an email of an account that I do not, a bank I don't even use at all? So sometimes you want to win something, or you want to, like, just the number of things that they tell you, especially within this season period, they're telling you that, oh, this person is doing a giveaway, click on this and all of that. So you need to look at, what does the message sound like, what kind of request are they making, what tone are they using, the urgency, are telling you, oh, this offer is ending now, grab it now. And so be cautious of them. when things seem too good to be true, you need to look at it, you need to verify. When you get all those calls or all those messages, sometimes they tend to leverage WhatsApp a lot these days, right? And then they're asking you, maybe somebody's account, somebody like is a victim of an account takeover, and then they're chatting you and telling you, oh, send this money to this. It's okay to use another channel, go beyond that WhatsApp. I know that this person is like your best friend and all of that, and you trust that, oh, it has to be this person asking me for this. But what about you go an extra mile, pick up your phone and like, ah, guy, are you the one I'm chatting with, and something like that, right? When they're asking for very sensitive information, it's important that you confirm those requests via another channel. Somebody can chat you and say, oh, I'm calling you from the CEO of, or maybe somebody that you really respect, and then out of fun it happens, like you see people impersonating certain celebrities, and then they're asking you, oh, send money and all of that. That is not a habit that you should carry on to 2026. So it's important, especially if you're still sending. A lot of time they tell you that there's a meeting and then they just send a code for you to be able to join the meeting. 2026 is not the year for you to do that, right? So when you get all those one-time authentication codes, you shouldn't be calling out, like you shouldn't be calling out sensitive information like just because someone asked for it. So please always verify and be alert to phishing scams, right? So another habit is, in 2026 we are going to keep devices updated. So a number of times you see, oh, this particular application is out of date, upgrade, and then I'm like, I used to get offended. I'm like, oh, this update, especially when you want to do something important and then they tell you to update your laptop and all of that. It can be pretty annoying, right? But beyond the inconvenience, it's important for security, because most times when these updates come up, it's because they want to fix certain security vulnerabilities, right? And clicking on those updates, as much as sometimes it can be inconvenient, but sometimes they would have discovered certain flaws that that update would fix, right? But when you do not do the necessary updates, you're leaving your system and your applications vulnerable. So please, in 2026, system update is important, application update is important, right? Understand that these updates, they fix security vulnerabilities, not just for fun, right? So it's very important that in 2026 you're going with, like, in your resolution, please add that I'm going to do my device update, I'm going to do application updates as much as is necessary. So another one is, I will protect personal and work data, right? So a number of us, like, we work with organizations, some of us even do freelance, right? Where people get to trust you with their data. So the fact that it could even be business, right? And maybe I made a purchase and you're supposed to like send certain, like, or probably deliver goods physically, right? But you have access to data. Maybe you've asked for my phone number, you've asked for my delivery address. The fact that you have access to that does not mean that you shouldn't protect it, right? So one thing you're going to commit to in 2026 is personal data, work data. You are going to treat it, of course, it's a sensitive information, so it's not something you want to share publicly, it's not something you just want to like spread anyhow. So in 2020s you're going to be careful about even your own personal data, the things you post on social media, right? Sometimes we go out and we want to like give certain updates, like you're even putting location. There's this feature on phones where you can even put the exact location at that time with the time, like you want people to know that, oh, you're chilling in the Maldives, and then you put the time and all of that. So those things like can come together. Like they're actually people that, it's, in fact, I'm sure that a number of us, like, we know how risky this thing can be. Like it's okay to share things, right? But you need to be cautious about it. You need to know the right timing. You need to know, this thing, okay, what if I don't even post it immediately, or maybe after I've left the place, right? Lock your devices when not in use, because of course when you leave your system open, anybody can come there and tamper with it, anybody can come there and do whatever they want, right? In 2026 it's also important that you log out of shared or public systems. Maybe when you use the cyber cafe, maybe when you use somebody's phone to maybe access one thing or the other, don't just leave your accounts there, because you don't know the next person that is going to be using that. So always log out of those shared and public systems. It's super, super important. Right. So of course I mentioned work. So because beyond like individual security, right, at work as well, setting company security policies. Like I mentioned, sometimes these things can be very inconvenient. You're like, oh, why do we have to do this? But it's important. Follow your company's security policies. So in 2026, please, all those certain security policies that they give, it's you need to follow them. When you receive suspicious emails or you spot certain activities that, oh, this is looking malicious, like the intent looks malicious, report as early as possible. Don't bypass security controls for convenience. Oh, you know that, okay, but you want to follow the shortcut even when you know this is not 2026 is not the year where you download, like you go to the internet and you're using like your work system and you're downloading things anyhow you want, right? Those things can introduce like malware to the system that can go ahead to infect companies network. So it's very important that you take these things seriously, right? And for those like who own like businesses, like you run like an organization and all of that. So one core cybersecurity resolution that you need to include in 2026 is that I'm going to provide cybersecurity awareness training for all staff, because people, like I mentioned, that like the target is people, just like systems are also being targeted, but people are like the weakest link. People are like the weakest link. So it's important that you conduct cybersecurity training for your staff at least once or twice a year, right? And this training is like, it doesn't have to be something complex or complicated. It just needs to be simple, practical, and relevant to the things they do, so that it's very relatable to them, right? Educate them on common threats, because these are like places that attackers will leverage. Like when it comes to hacking humans, they're going to use phishing, they're going to use social engineering, they're going to try to what password are you using, like especially those of us that were using the same password that we use for our personal accounts for work. It's not a good habit, right? And then something like that is compromised, and then your company is also affected. So you need to educate them on password hygiene, safe data handling. So include it in your cybersecurity resolution that in this 2026, I'm going to conduct cybersecurity awareness training for my staff. Right? If you need to get people like with expertise, there are organizations that handle things like this. It doesn't even need to be physical, virtually, like, but make sure that they are aware, make sure that they know, right? Because ignorance, like when you will be paying fines for things, for mishandling people's data and all of that, ignorance is not going to be an excuse. Okay. So regularly remind your employees that security is not just an IT issue, it's a people issue, right? So everybody needs to be looking out for each other. Everybody needs to be involved when it comes to security. So encourage a culture where staff feel comfortable to report suspicious activities without fear. It's not like, oh, something has happened and then maybe they report and they're like, who knows, if I report this one, then I'm going to lose my job. And then that thing keeps, spreading until it gets to a point where it has led, maybe if the impact was supposed to be something of 10,000 naira, it has gotten to an impact of maybe over 500,000 naira. So create a culture where staff feel comfortable reporting activities without fear. So this is not all. These are just like core things that you need to include. So as you're doing your resolutions, as you're doing like drafting out all the plans and all that for 2026, please pick out one part of this thing. Like it doesn't have to be everything I want. Just start with little. Okay, I have a poor password habit, but I'm going to pick this one. I'm going to be very intentional with this one. Oh, okay, I don't like MFA, but I'm going to start doing this. So just pick one core thing. What is one thing that's from this video now, like today as you're listening, what is that one thing that you know that I'm guilty of this? Start from it and tell yourself that in 2026 this is not going to be me, this is not going to be me, right? So by making intentional cybersecurity resolutions, you take control of your digital safety, and beyond yourself you're also contributing to a safer online community, right? So yeah, I want to believe that with the few things that we've talked about, of course, I can proudly say 2026, like we're going to be more conscious about cyber safe habits, right? So from securely evolving, happy new year in advance, season greetings and happy new year in advance. 2026 cyber safety, very very important. So thank you so much for joining Cyber Gist today. I hope that you picked one thing that is super valuable, and of course, like I mentioned at the beginning, Cyber Gist is it's one of the things like on this channel, like it's a monthly gist session where we just have several conversations around cybersecurity. So you can look out for other videos, like certain areas that we've touched. So whether you would just want to get into cybersecurity, you want to like learn from other people's stories, other people's experiences of starting, we have things like that. Whether you're like a female, like yeah, we had a video earlier this year, like where we had people, women, actually talk about their experiences, how they are balancing their career, with um home and all of that. So the number of things, right? Certain things you should do, before your phone or any of your device gets lost, and after it gets lost, certain things you need to look out for, right? So just look through the videos on the channel, and I hope that you get to learn something, and I hope to see you next year. So this is Securely Evolving. If you are yet to subscribe, I don't know what you're waiting for. Right. So thank you so much for joining. Bye and see you next year.